Daydream Society. Five. I wake up to the feeling of cold steel and a sore neck. I grope around me for the bag I'd been using as a pillow and can't find it. I sit up slowly, rubbing my shoulder. I'm sitting on a bench in some train station, and my bag is missing. Around me, but from what seems like an infinite distance, people mill about, traveling this way and that with their luggage to catch one outbound or another. Their faces blur as if fuzzed out to protect their anonymity, and I can't make out their eyes. It must have been the crackhead that took my bag of stuff. She had been swaying, almost dancing, next to me, one bony hand clutching at the steel bench. Her laughter was thin like paper, her sagging tits a chemotherapy patient's. I don't remember meeting her. Instead, my recollection begins somewhere in the middle of an interminable monologue concerning a house several blocks down from the station, a place where she could score. She liked my eyes, she said. She could get me a gram of pot, or even some rock there, if I wanted that. What I really wanted was to get out of this train station and make my way south. Unfortunately, this was an impossibility. It was late, too barren to hitchhike, and I did not have the kind of money to ride by bus or train. My father, the crackhead had mumbled with some incoherent aura of pride, which felt misplaced, used to beat me. Every night, with his belt, or a fucking electrical cord. He would catch us stealing some little thing from him, money or a soda from the kitchen. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister, the bitch, and let me tell you now, she's a lawyer. She lives in a furnished condo in Manhattan. Drives a black Lexus. It's a beautiful car, and she doesn't deserve it. I put up with Papa's shit. Took the blame for the money which we all stole, so she could go to school the next morning without the throbbing black eye I got. And what do you think she says to me when I call her asking for a little money to help make ends meet? The world was certainly a messed up place, I had agreed. Despite her incoherence, the crackhead gave off the aura of some kind of gypsy, almost as if she belonged to another place and time entirely, a time to which, when the great white dove descends on the world and swallows us all in its nihilistic embrace, she'll return. I remember falling asleep there as she rambled into the night, partially to herself, on topics ranging as far between as her father's alcoholism and the environmental benefits of saving the pygmy killer whale. Strange, what people know. The rush of my short-term memory slows down, and I notice the disheveled mess sitting not far away from my spot on the long bench. He's wearing a winter coat and seems to be drawn into himself, but a cataract-imbued bluish-green eye stirs and twinkles at me when he realizes I've been watching. "Greetin'," he slurs in my direction. His voice is damaged electrical cable. "Eyes," grunt. $3 bill. At least, that's what I think he's saying. $3 bill speaks in a complicated system of grunts and clicks. His jaw seems permanently dislocated to the left side of his face when he talks like that. Between the grunt and the click of his Morse code, he'll give you a word like, "Here." The disheveled mess reaches into his long coat and holds a bottle of Wild Turkey bourbon out in front of me. I take it from his hand. "What the fuck? Have you seen my bag?" I ask, disarmed from waking up. It was here when I fell asleep. People carousel around us too kinetically, moving on to individual destinations. They're like some kind of spiral pattern. $3 bill leans closer and speaks to me. Grunt. "You're different than these folks around here, aren't ya?" He muses at me. Click. "Sure," I say, taking a haul from Bill's half-finished bottle. I noticed in the corner of my eye a sign on the wall with an image of a liquor bottle circled in red and crossed out. "Did you see the girl with the scar under her eye?" I asked. "I think her name was Lily." $3 Bill's eyes sink into his puffy, whiskered cheeks. "Lil," he slurs. "The girl's a messenger." I shift my weight onto my ankle. "Eh?" "Carrier pigeon. She make it through. She takes some scars. Collateral damage. Click. For the cause." "She took my bag," I say grumpily. "Yeah. Now she disappeared." Bill interrupts himself with a hacking cough. "Lil's got a wormhole. My notebook was in there, I think. My writings. Fuck it." The onset of dreariness is a cloudy blanket gathering over a wasteland. "What day is it?" I ask the disheveled mess, handing back his bottle. $3 Bill doesn't seem to catch that. "These people, they don't see right," he muses. Click. "Is right in front of them. They walk right over it. Don't even stop to look. Always running. Always running. Always running. While I sit right here. Everywhere. At the same time." His plaid shirt has a radiance to it. The patterns of colored cloth shimmer and twist into little pinwheels in the air between us. Apart from this, I realize Bill is still jabbering at me, the rail car of his thoughts still spinning in its wheels after a collision. He pauses his dialogue to take a haul from the bottle of bourbon and grunt horribly. "I was waiting for the time maker." Bill's voice is like vomit through gritted teeth. I wonder if there's something pure and white hiding behind his patchy, snarled facial hair. "Maker's gonna tell me where to go. Won't be her. Be somewhere different. You want some of this?" He gestures to the bottle before shoving it back inside the lining of his coat. "Just grab it." I shift my weight on the bench and notice immediately that I still have the worn paperback in my back pocket. The Daydream Society. So, at least there's that. "Say," remarks the disheveled mess, "you know why they call me $3 Bill, don't you?" "Why's that?" I reply, my voice choked in general confusion. I notice suddenly his eyes, cloudy but no longer green. "It's 'cause I don't exist." Click. I close my eyes for a moment and half expect to be gone when I open them. Somehow I get on a train without having to present a ticket or any money, and the rails whine with the sound of translocation, the changing of my time and place. The morning sun brings alive a swirling dreamland of dust. There, over the counter, the giggling of a coffee pot brewing. The headache won't go away yet, but no one is here, no one is talking. In this situation, I can work peaceably until the thing wears off. I rub my eyes and slice "RIP" straight out of the living section. I arrange it with the other cuttings from the obituaries to form the phrase, "Rip heaven apart. Acquire squatter's rights to afterlife." A small army of smokes make their grave in my ashtray, curled up in epileptic poses of terminal psychosis. I can remember last night fairly well. Felix and I had spent the evening engaged in a passionate discourse on the nature of time or something. Marcel may have been there, or was that the other night? It doesn't matter. What matters now is the coffee's almost ready. My head is throbbing, and my teeth feel coated with a film of grime that tastes like the first stages of rot before the body begins to completely decompose. The cafe au lait warms my hands as I grip the mug. The building is quiet, save an occasional ring of conversation from outside, and the dissociated swinging of the pawnshop door open and shut. I sip my coffee, listening for screaming voices. Nothing. Still, somehow, A level of apprehension manages to build in the dead air of my place. My apartment is small, and the walls probably haven't been painted in the last 5 years. The oven doesn't light correctly, and has to be hand-started with a Zippo. And my refrigerator leaks, and is supported in the front by a paint-chipped board I found and pushed under there. There are little gaps in the window where the glass is cracked and fallen away. I checked the lead content in the walls one time with an over-the-counter tester. I tried afterwards to push the results out of my mind. I used to stay someplace else, in a house somewhere, in Broadmoor. Memories come back to me sometimes in flashes, vague reminiscences like misrecollected scenes from a book read while drunk. I'm not sure if I ever lived there, if it isn't just ignis fatuus from some dream I had while nodding. The place was bigger than the one I have now. There was a woman there, sort of beautiful, although in her eyes, a hidden apathy was clawing its way out, one morning at a time. And there was a young child, a girl. But I'm still not in the right state of mind to think about this. I haven't finished my first cup of coffee. Anyway, the woman and the young girl have both gone somewhere far away, receded into the clouds of my memory, and things happen. New things arise. I sit for a while drinking my coffee and listening for voices. There's only the sound of cars and people in the street, a reality that still exists whether or not I persuade myself to remain a part of it. At some point, there's a knock at the door. I answer it to Cyndi Blue, who says she's been hoping she'd find me. She comes in and throws herself down on my oversized couch, the one Marcel and I found down the street, and spent an afternoon pushing up the winding stairs of our apartment building, tearing lacerations in its fabric on the dried wood of the stair rail. I can't do it anymore, Cyndi sighs. The underneath of her eyes are ringed with black pools of sleep apnea. Ordinarily, I'd find myself annoyed by an unexpected intrusion into my living space. Not with Cyndi. She's one of those people. Her arrival feels pleasant. "Can I smoke?" she queries. I nod in assent. She removes one from her pack, lights it, and offers one to me. The haze of burnt tobacco escapes her mouth and spirals upwards in a mutiny from her lungs. "Troubles in paradise?" I ask her, a hint of a smirk present in the corners of my lips. Cyndi gives me a bitter look. "I was with Felix last night, and Anastasia." I switch my smoke uncomfortably to the other hand. I'm not sure where I was last night. "Weren't you here? At the house?" "Maybe," I say. I never seem to be certain of where I am anymore. The girl on my couch laughs, almost reassuringly. "At least you don't have to wake up to..." She pauses. "Never mind. Fuck it, Silas." "What is it?" I say to her. "Life's getting to feel too hard," Cyndi admits. "There are mornings when I don't even want to get up and live it. I'll stay in bed all day. Or..." "Really?" I deadpan. These kind of things hit all too close to home. "I could die tomorrow," she continues. "But they'd just put me in a box, stuff me full of God knows what, put me in a box and bury it in the ground, so what? People can come stand there, point, and say, 'That was once a human being. Now it's a rotting thing in the ground, right there.'" "That's what they could do. They could put that on your tombstone," I interject. Cyndi's dark hair pours around her, a protective shield of some kind. I catch myself wondering what kind of evil force in the world this girl could find herself in a situation of needing protection from. "When I die, I'd like to be cremated," Cyndi says, "or burned alive, the moment before death." I've been making art, I remember, out of newspaper clippings, from the obituaries, but I'm not sure what the point of it is anymore. Cyndi tells me she might have a gallery showing from her sketches, through an acquaintance of Anastasia's. She doesn't sound particularly optimistic. Let's go out, I say. Forget about our lives for a while. The door of my apartment has to be yanked shut in just the right way for the locking mechanism to click in. On our way down the wooden stairs, Cyndi stops and grabs a yellowed envelope from the ground by the landing. Is this yours? She asks. She hands me the letter and I check its address. It's marked Nikolai Nazianzen, apartment C. He must live in the apartment across the hall, I explain. Nazianzen, muses Cyndi. A strange name. I would have just passed it up, there on the ground. Downstairs, the door to Marcel's place is closed, and there's an almost lifeless silence. My baby blue truck takes several turns of the ignition to growl and cough itself alive. I unlock the doors and Cyndi hops into the passenger seat. New Orleans is littered this time of year with the crisp specter of fallen leaves. There's no color change in our seasons, only the fatalistic transference from lushness to death. The skeleton-like hand of oak and magnolia clutching blindly at a forsaking firmament. Many of the shotgun houses lining the street are still caked with sickly yellow residue of flood lines. We pass a door that reads, "Too Dead," in crude spray paint. Destination? I ask. Cyndi shrugs pointlessly and indicates the direction of the old Ninth Ward with a listless wave of her hand. I drive slowly, trying to center myself. Down before the railroad tracks, we pass a brick elementary school. There are children there, playing outside on the pavement around old playground equipment. They laugh and I can see them bouncing red rubber balls. "Oh, Father Christmas, if you love me at all," I mumble to myself. "What's that?" Cyndi looks at me. It's from an old poem I read when I was a child. Something by the guy who wrote Winnie the Pooh. There was more. I can't remember it. The children's laughter feels far away, distant, as if separated from us by a wall of thick glass. I wonder if Cyndi can feel it too. I look at her. The light recedes from me so far as to be crushing. "Let's go," she says, her mouth twisting into an eccentric smirk. My foot on the accelerator pulls the truck back over the railroad tracks, and it shudders in crossing. Out past here, the houses are all but abandoned. No one lives there anymore. In the middle of this ghost neighborhood, we pull to a stop in front of a tumble-down house. Its porch is slumping in on itself, and the roof is sprouting vines, the kind that squeeze the life out of a building until it finally collapses into dust. It's still standing, and through a shattered window in the back, I can make out a faint glow of candlelight. I don't know what it is about the place that causes me to break, but Cyndi grabs my hand and says, in a half-whisper, "Let's go inside." We deftly maneuver our way across the rotting porch. The front door of the place pushes open on one broken hinge, shedding paint chips. "I can't imagine who possibly lives here," breathes Cyndi. Nonetheless, I feel her tugging on my hand, and I follow her in. She has a lot to forget today. On the inside of the house is a meager collection of personal possessions. A high school football shot of a young black man, distorted from exposure to water, rests on a vanity amidst a collection of rotting laundry. Pieces of a djembe drum have fallen apart in a corner, splaying out around its base like a secret sun. Remnants of past lives. From the back room, through a shotgun kitchen piled with cracked ceramics, the candlelight lures us. The back room is more kept up, swept. The only things in the room are a Stetson hat on the ground in a corner, and a yellowed paperback. On the empty wood table next to the still glowing candle, I take the book, open it aimlessly. The Daydream Society, page 20. A shattered afternoon sun bleeds secrets. The board members have created the illusion of light. They'll pursue all dissidents, separate each internal organ, and market it as modern art. Something underlies these vibrations, can't be seen. It's difficult enough to watch the city when everything's dying out. A cosmic joker lives within light's vibrations. Lies defy him, keep us alive, are dealt out by suppliers in syringe-infested back alleys under the hideous clicking of cockroach wings. In the dark, it is easier to dream. Still, they'll survive through the deserts, where human sighs and wind dry up their tears. Heralded on by a busker who no longer exists, has become a ghost, a shallow remnant of past dreams. They'll survive, even as the cockroach mind strives to eradicate and tear them apart, surging at them against the thrust of their pulse. They'll survive, those radical escapists who shun the light and its deathly whispers, conceive children under the blanket of lies, disappear, leaving in their wake these apocryphal records of new Genesis.
Shreka occultosen som strider bland mig Sina kommer skon som palmer och tro på ett hot Noi ne lem de plaie lungi vreau să te salveze Mă strigă colțul buzelor Zâmbetul ți florește De ce ești trist și taci Nu mai vrei să zbori De ce nu simți, nu mai crezi Ți-e frică de culori Fumezi cuvintele-ți prin sânge Visezi iubirea cum se stinge Mă-mbrac cu tine grivuri pline Te risipește scurge-n bine Bine, bine te scurci Bine te scurci Bine te scurci Fumezi cuvintele-ți prin sânge Visezi iubirea cum se stinge Mă-mbrac cu tine grivuri pline Te risipește scurge-n bine Bine te scurci